Hello friend, welcome back to another video with your man Gentleman, and today it's already April guys, 2021. It just went by so fast. Now it's April already. It's like what, 4th of April right now when you're seeing this. Dude, it's so fast. 4 months already into 2021. Anyway, April Fool's Day. I didn't really do much prank. I only pranked on my girlfriend, and I had to do like a belated April Fool prank on my cell leader, but that's about it. You know, back in the day when I was in high school, I used to do I try to find ways to do April Fool's prank to every single friend in the class, and right now I just can't even find one to do it. It's so sad. It comes to that point where you can't find anyone. But anyway, last week I said, I'm gonna react to videos, and for me this month it will just be mainly on that, shorter videos. I think all of my videos are like an hour or 2 hours long. And I just did like a 3-hour Lego last week, part 1. Here it is. I'm building a car, a DB5 car. Still haven't, I haven't touched it since that night. So next week I'll do part 2 just to finish off second packet. I didn't know like one packet it'll take me like 3 hours to do it. I'm just trying like doing maybe 2 videos a week, just to see how it goes. But yeah, so this week it's mainly just reacting to videos. And I found actually these 2 channels, Jubilee and Cut. Actually these 2 YouTube channels, they are quite famous for their sort of social experiment kind of thing, content. I think it's sort of like the trend, just reacting to video. Like Uncle Roger also does this kind of thing, but it's quite hard to find Malaysian or Singapore YouTubers that actually does this kind of videos. So I had to use somewhat from all the way to America, Jubilee and Cut. I think they are American YouTubers, but anyway. And surprisingly, do you know that the most subscribed YouTube channel in Malaysia is Upin and Ipin? I didn't know. I thought like what, Genie Boy is like the highest, but no, there are so many other YouTubers in Malaysia that has more than 2 million subscribers, and that's crazy. And the most of it, I think, is 8 million, 9 million if I'm not mistaken. Upin and Ipin, what are the odds? But just to maybe start off with, I actually have some things to talk about. The first thing is Godzilla vs Kong. I just finished watching that, and I gotta say, I didn't really like it as much as Godzilla King of Monsters. I find King of Monsters is a much better movie for me, personally. Just the way how it looks, how it builds the tension with King Ghidorah and Rodan and all that kind of thing. I think it's just the way how it was filmed. And for this one, yes, you get a lot of all those monsters fighting between Godzilla and King Kong. But at the first part, I feel it's very like choppy, and it jumps around, and it tries to focus a lot on the human characters. And for me, the human characters didn't really, I mean, like there's some really nice moments, but I didn't really like care about them. I wanted to see more of Godzilla vs Kong. Yeah, it was just a lot of things in the action scenes that make it seem very overdoing it. But I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy as much as I enjoyed Godzilla King of Monsters. Yeah, I watched it on IMAX, and it was sort of like the first time I actually went to a movie theater since MCO happened. I think the last one was Tenet, and then I went to saw Raya, and then now with Godzilla vs Kong. I think it's an okay movie, not to say like it's really good, but not to say that it's very very bad as well. It's just an okay movie, I feel lah. If you ever have the chance, I think you should watch it on IMAX. I think now it's available on the HBO Go, so I'd rather you to go and watch it on IMAX rather than just watching on a normal screen. I think you coming to this movie, you're just mainly watching Godzilla vs Kong. I think, yeah, we didn't really see this on screen ever since like in the 1950s, and you know, like 1950s, the special effect also, it wasn't that good. So you know, seeing now with the special effects, with all the technology that we have now, we are able to see like really like realistic Godzilla and a realistic Kong fighting with each other. And I gotta say, when the fight happens, you know, some of the sceneries was really nice, very beautiful, but it's just not enough to carry the whole film for me lah. That's for Godzilla vs Kong. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, I haven't really talked about it, but yeah, I've watched it, all 4 hours of it. I watched it twice actually, and I really like it. I completely forgot about the Joss Whedon Justice League that came out in 2017. It was the theoretical release lah, and this was the sort of the ultimate edition by Zack Snyder. He cut it himself because his daughter sadly passed away because of suicide, and he couldn't complete the film. So Joss Whedon had to come in, and he sort of gave his own ideas about how the film should look. So it was really sort of his direction coming from Marvel. So there was it was a more brighter, more cheerful sort of Justice League movie, but it wasn't really the direction of where Zack Snyder actually saw the movie for. And that sort of gotten a lot of negative reviews, and you know, people were saying that this Justice League was the worst. It's even worse than the Batman vs Superman. Batman vs Superman, it came out with an ultimate edition. It was so much better than the original one. I think it's mainly because they had to cut a lot of scenes out just to fit that 2 hours or 2.5 hours sort of runtime. Yeah, Zack Snyder had all the freedom in the world. He can do whatever he wants, and it's so nice to see that a director can able to just go in and just fulfill his sort of vision for the movie. And it was so nicely done. I love the cinematography, the way how it's shot, the storyline. There's so many layers to it, in terms of each character. The Justice League, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and even Flash as well, each character are fleshed out so much, and you get the sense of like all these characters are very important and integral into the storyline. So it was really well done. I actually really love Zack Snyder's vision for it. It's dark, it's sad, but yet there are also comedic moments with Flash and Cyborg and even Aquaman as well. Yeah, there are a lot of things to like, and I really don't mind about the 4-hour runtime. I think it's fine just to showcase the story itself. That's why I like, I don't know, I like long movies. I like movies that actually takes its time to build its characters, takes its time to move the story forward, rather than just packing every single thing into like a 2-hour or 2.5-hour movie. And I just feel that some movies just needs the time to really sunk in, to really feel for the characters, to really understand where they're coming from, to really understand where the story is going. And this Justice League just builds a lot of things, and I really hope that one day we will be able to see Zack Snyder's universe, just to see where this story will unfold in the future, because there is a lot of Easter eggs and there's a lot of setup in this movie. Yeah, you definitely need like Justice League 2, Justice League 3. I wouldn't be surprised that they would come out with an Injustice League as well. I think it would go into that sort of direction. I'm just really hopeful that they will be able to continue with this universe. Really like this movie. What can I say? I think that's about it in terms of movies and the things that I've watched recently. And I can't wait for Mortal Kombat. I already booked the tickets to go and watch the sneak peek. TGV and GSC are all open now, but we still have like the SOPs that we have to sit one seat apart. card. A couple also you can't, as long as you have the same address. You have to give them like a letter saying that you're in the same address, or like say for example your company gives you a letter that you have registered your boyfriend or girlfriend's address, then you are accepted to go. Or your My Sejahtera app, you know, you can add like a dependent person there. Like if it's in the My Sejahtera app, then you can use that as well. But if you're just showing IC, it doesn't work. Yeah, unless you're a family that stays in the same house, then that's fine. But other than that, yeah, you have to sit separately, and I think it's okay. I'm still able to enjoy the film, and but yeah, nowadays there's a lot of people in the cinemas already, so that's good. I think it's time to revitalize again the film industry, and also the movie watching experience. It's just really nice just to coming back and watching movies in the big screen again. It's just such a nice feeling. You have to get used to those annoying people coming in late. I'm guilty of coming in late also, but you know, those people that just flashes around checking for their seat number, and also people checking on their phones while you're watching movie, and you know, sneezing here, coughing there. You know, those are the kinds of things that you know, when you go in and watch a movie in the cinema. So that's the kind of things that you have to get used to. But yeah, really excited for Mortal Kombat, and that's about it. Right. I gotta keep this video, you know, within like 20 minutes. Or I don't know, I'm just gonna react to these two videos, and probably it'll go into like half an hour. I don't know now. You know, I have to be a bit more I have to be a bit more hardworking to edit this kind of videos. I don't know, I just, you know, sometimes editing video is just such a pain in the ass. Sometimes, you know, you have to like take a lot of time. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into this Jubilee video that I'm gonna first react to. Alright, so we have this video. It's strangers ranking their intelligence, IQ versus first impressions. I think this will be an interesting video, just talking about intelligence. Wow, okay. I clearly didn't really okay, so I thought it would be a good sort of topic to talk about in terms of intelligence. Like, how do you really define intelligence? How do you really separate it out in terms of intelligence? I don't know, I haven't really had the time to think about intelligence. I mean, it's quite complex, right? It's not very simple to just dictate someone's intelligence. You know, there are so many different factors. It's quite complex. Let's actually listen to them, see what you know, maybe they will introduce themselves. Let's just see where are they coming from, then only we can sort of give our first impression. I think like right now, just ranking them based on their intelligence, I think it's a wrong move. So I think let's just move on into the video, let them introduce themselves, let them talk a little bit, find out a little bit about them, then only we can sort of, you know, see where they are at.
I work in finance. I have a bachelor's degree. I went to Yale.
I'm Tyler. I'm 21. I'm a high school graduate, and I work in the Marine Corps.
High school graduate.
Kaylee.
Okay.
I'm 25. I'm a software developer. I went to Ohio University.
Software
and I have
developer.
a bachelor's degree.
Maria, I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology, and I work in a biotech industry.
Wow,
Grad school, I
okay.
went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida.
Hi everybody, my name is Sean. I'm 27. I'm the director of social media for a
Social
company,
media
and I also
director,
work for
okay.
an ad agency. I got a double major in dance and cultural anthropology. Undergrad, I went to Loyola Marymount University.
That's totally different.
Hi everybody, I'm
Okay.
Ray. I'm 24. I graduated with a bachelor's degree from Harvard recently, and I work in consulting.
Harvard Consulting. Wow. Okay. So let's just digest everything here, right? Okay. You would think that someone who has just a high school degree would be the least intelligent one, and plus he is in the Marine, so you know, military wise. Based on first impression, I would think the one that went to Harvard would be the first one. Second, I think, yeah, Yale is quite. I don't know. I'm based on like what you know, based on their introduction and just ranking just based on that. I will put him as 1, her at 2, or maybe her, because she has a PhD. So I'll put her as one, right? She has the PhD, has a degree as well. And then for him, because he's younger, then but he studies in Harvard, so I'll put him as 2, put her as 3, 4, and then 5, and then 6. Mainly it's because he has a double major, but she is a software developer, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he's in high school, so I will rank them based on that. Let's see if that's right at the end of the day, okay?
I know, that's what I'm saying, is age a factor?
Yeah, it gives you like years of experience.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's good to identify what intelligence means to everybody.
I think
Intelligence. What does it mean to me? It's definitely about experience. Some can apply in experience. I mean, experience is quite complex as well, because sometimes if you have a wealth of experience, but sometimes you can be quite stubborn with that experience, or it really depends on the person. If you're a type of person that goes through so many different things in your career, so many mistakes that you have done, challenges that you have faced, those kind of experience really brings out the intelligence, your maturity as well. Maturity, I think, is quite a good part of being intelligent. Yeah, I wouldn't say like sometimes, if you have a PhD, doesn't mean you're really that intelligent as well. You cannot discount that just because that person has a PhD, because sometimes someone who is just having a bachelor's degree or even a diploma can be a very successful person. Like, say for example, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, they dropped out from their universities to start off like Microsoft, to start to revamp Apple again. So this kind of it's really depending on that person also, like how they want to use that what they have. And sometimes it comes down to talent as well. It's not just about just about qualifications, but it's also about their talent, their technical skills. Sometimes if they are willing to learn, so there are so many different things. Like being street smart also is one thing that's totally something that you cannot get from just getting like a degree or something like that. Sometimes it's about there's so many different things. But yeah, let's just continue to watch.
intelligence is better defined as your adaptability and your problem-solving skills more than it is your education. Obviously, like the education, the stuff you've been through puts a lot into play in it because it gives you more resources, more thoughts to draw from. The formal education definitely helps, but I don't think it's in any way essential.
So what is the most essential?
So the most essential thing would probably be common sense.
Yeah, so
I would agree, common sense, but formal education, I feel it's still the right way to go though. Like, personally for me, it's like, my parents would always say like, go and get your degree, go and study in college or universities. I think maybe because to them it's like it's a winning formula, because ever since like my grandparents sort of time, they always say like, oh, I want my kids to go to degree. It's a very prestigious thing, like, getting a degree is like something that is to be proud of, at that time. And they sort of see it like this is the way to success. They want their children to go to do that as well. And that's why for me, I managed to also go for a degree, but in a different country. So there are so many different things, because studying in locally and you studying overseas also, there are so many different impacts. It comes down to what colleges, what universities that you go to that actually gives you that kind of education that is vital for you into the workforce. I think there are so many areas that sometimes universities and colleges didn't really tackle on, but it's also an avenue for you to learn. There are so many things that you can learn from when you're in college and university, so many to choose from. For me personally, it's like the subjects. You can choose to go into something that you're interested in and also learn something more about it. But it's also about training you how to think, because when you're in primary school, secondary school, you don't really would. I mean, for us in Asia, it's not about like asking you to think. It's more towards like the teacher tells you what to do, you just do. You just need to memorize. So that was our primary school, secondary school. It's just memorizing things, and sooner or later you're just gonna forget about it. Like how much can we really remember from a primary school and secondary school thing? Even colleges and universities also, we don't really remember what we learn. It's because like colleges and university is more towards training you how to think. So in terms of like your critical thinking, the in terms of like also connections as well, meeting new people, getting their experiences, talking to lecturers and tutors who have that wealth of education to pass it down to you as well. So those are the things that you get. Sometimes maybe people would think like, oh, you're just getting a cert only, that's all. But at the end of the day, it's about training you how to think and preparing you for the workforce, and it's a platform for you. And I feel that I think getting a formal education is important .
So for me personally, I think intelligence is both EQ, IQ, and that common sense, street smart intelligence, all of that combined.
People consciously or unconsciously, when they see someone, form an opinion immediately. Like I'm sure we all did right away.
When I saw you, I told myself, Maria, do not judge him just by his looks. He could be throwing you off, or that's just who he is, but he can talk the talk and walk the walk. Sean, I didn't want to judge him based on the way he looks or dresses or acts, so I was like, I think he's intelligent.
First impressions, I would put him at the bottom only because when I was in school, all the other people with like the bright neon colors and stuff, they were typically the ones doing worse in classes. If we were ranking confidence, I'd definitely put Sean at very first place.
So what is the
No, I think that's a wrong concept. I feel, just because someone dresses a certain way or acts a certain way, and during high school, I don't think no one even have the maturity to even like want to succeed, because sometimes they just want to pass and just have fun in school. So it's not really valid what she says. And sometimes judging on the way you look, and sometimes in terms of the whole overall like intelligent wise, I don't think you can just based on someone how that person look or how that person dresses. It doesn't really define. Sometimes people like this, like Kim Kardashian or Khloe Kardashian, yeah, they look so bimboish, but they are actually quite intelligent in terms of like running a TV show that has so many views, and also like running their own company, creating their own makeup line, and being such a famous celebrity. And those are things that requires intelligence as well. It's not like just because they look like they are bimbo, that kind of thing, doesn't mean they are dumb. I mean, most of them, they just inherit from the money from their parents and whatnot. But sometimes it requires some sort of intelligence. I don't know where am I going with this, but definitely as an Asian, when I'm me being in the workforce for like almost like 5 years already, and coming from corporate as well. Definitely in Malaysia there is always this for us to act a certain way, to be a certain way, so that we are more employable. We have to dress properly, we have to be formal and that kind of thing. I mean, it's a very very different in terms of culture, I feel, in terms of the Asia culture and also American, because American is sort of like you can be who you want to be, and it's all about the freedom, your rights and stuff like that. But whereas for Asia, you have to dress the part, you have to be the part, and also it's not about IQ but also EQ as well. And being street smart, like what she said, right, that you have to just not just talk the talk but also walk the walk, if that makes sense.
There's so many aspects to intelligence. It really goes beyond IQ and EQ. Even those two different factors really don't really capture what it really means to be intelligent.
I know I'm not, from Yale, I don't have a PhD, but what I lack in those areas, I'm able to still problem solve and use my own skill set, my emotional intelligence as well as my social intelligence.
Besides my education and background, I feel like I have high emotional intelligence, I'm aware of my surroundings.
As a software developer, my problem-solving skills are obviously top-notch, I think I would say. My whole life, I've kind of had to fight to be seen as intelligent. I think I'm so used to having to do that as a woman, to just step up and be like, I deserve to be here. My first job out of college, I was working at a law firm. A gentleman came up to me and said, "Hi, you don't look like somebody that would work at a law firm. You look like somebody I'd go on spring break with." And I'm like, what?
Obviously, out of everyone here, I've got the least formal education. I consider myself intelligent. My mental dedication and my ability to adapt and to problem solve. What I do in the Marine Corps, I'm a seabird defense specialist. So I think that by virtue of what I do, that already requires some amount of intelligence.
Sorry, quick question. So do you think that only certain people can do your job, or do you think anyone can do your job?
Only certain people. You have to take the ASVAB before you go into the military. That's not really how much you know, but how well you can learn information. And I got a 94 on that. It's not an amount of how much you study, how much you know. You're not going to really get better at learning. Does that make sense?
I strongly disagree with you don't get better at learning. The idea that you can get better at learning is a pretty big signifier of intelligence. I'm very much dyslexic. I have ADHD and I'm on the autism spectrum. Dyslexia means that there's a big gap in comprehension. So I was scoring 99th percentile in certain areas and 3rd percentile in others. I'll never be able to learn another language. I took Spanish for 12 years and I can still basically only order a burrito.
So I have a question. Why?
Yeah, so I think after hearing from all of them, I feel like, yeah, I can understand where she's coming from. Because for, sometimes people can just, act a certain way and then they can be successful, but they perceive as intelligent, but they are actually not. But it comes down to that street smart, right? It's all about how you project yourself. And, if you can show confidence, sometimes people would deem you're confident means you're intelligent. So there are so many different things, and for him, I don't really agree with him though, because I feel like sometimes I think every job in this world, anybody can actually do it. It's just about whether you want to learn, or you just want to, you just have to learn. You just have to spend the time and really dive into it. At the end of the day, say for example, a doctor or lawyer or even an engineer, if you would decide to stop doing what you're doing and actually go into that area, anybody can do. Not just because you're a certain type of person you cannot do. Every single job you are able to do it. It's just where your talent actually leads you to, or your physical attributes, or your emotional attributes, or something like that. You can always learn something, but you doesn't mean you have to be the best at that something, right? There is always a limitation to something, but you can always learn something towards a subject or something like that. And for her, she says what, she's dyslexia. And yeah, that could be a limit. Some people just doesn't have the genes, or doesn't have a certain kind of sickness that prevents them from doing a certain job, right? But you can always learn about a certain job. It just takes time, takes years of and experience, definitely. But at the end of the day, it's whether is that really you or not. And each one of us is different. We choose different things because it's based on what we think that we want to do in this, in this lifetime. So Yeah, it really depends on that person, and intelligence can really build because of passion, because of confidence, because of experience, because of the technical knowledge as well, and skills, and also talent, and also intelligence. Also, it may become it's also about common sense. How do you use your brain to think? How do you think critically, and how do you think also maybe creatively as well? There are so many different things, like maybe strategy, how do you come up with all these ideas and stuff like that. There are so many different factors that comes into intelligence, so it's very, very hard to really like differentiate, like, oh, you're intelligent because you have a degree, or just because you have just because you have the technical knowledge of it. It doesn't work like that in terms of the intelligence lah.
Why did you go to Yale and why did you go to Harvard?
My parents are immigrants from China, and I'm a first-generation immigrant as well, and a college student as well. My family always really stressed the importance of formal education. For me, that was something that I really strived for.
I wasn't planning to go to
Right.
college. That wasn't like a goal of mine. My parents were like, well, you should apply to at least one college. And I was like, I'll never get in here. And then I went to Yale.
Why don't you guys rank each other from 1 to 6, including yourself, and give reasons why you want to do what you do?
All right, this will
Gotta
be
go
interesting.
1.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would rank you as a 6, not meaning that you're not intelligent. I also think that I don't place a lot of value on the military.
Period.
No, full stop.
I'd probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry.
I'm the villain this episode.
Does anyone think they're like at either end of the spectrum?
I'd say I'm 1, if nothing else, because I know
What?
what I'm about, and I'm sure of that.
Wait, you guys have to rank everyone too. That is so unfair. No.
I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's
Okay.
just a bit immature,
I
right?
think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. It's
So much the same.
hard for me to look past the education part. Going to college, I think you learn a lot, if nothing else emotionally. But I still think you're smart.
Thank you.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, immigrant parents, first generation going to college, humble, modest. 2, me, I don't know, PhD, cancer biology scientist, I work at a biotech company doing COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then 6. It has nothing to do with your background. I don't think you really have the highest EQ out of all of us. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself. He was ranking intelligence based on his point of view and not taking
Right.
in other people's point of views and compiling results, but really just came down to his body language, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards the group.
Well, coming from a PhD, I think that she thinks in a certain way as well. So I can't really discount her for saying, I can't really agree with what she say as well. I think he is intelligent in some way because military, you cannot just, I think it's a prejudice already to just say like, oh, everybody that goes into the military would just, or anybody that just has a high school education is dumb. At the end of the day, sometimes some people like farmers, fishermen, they have intelligence as well. It's not like they are not intelligent. They have to think strategically. They have to have technical skills in terms of how to maintain their crops and whatnot. Those are intelligence as well. So I can't really say like you cannot really say like just because he's in the military or high school education, then he's the least intelligent. But yeah, I mean, out of all of them, you would sort of put him at the last place. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, you can't really judge just because of that. At the end of the day, military also, there are so many different avenues that you can go into. So, but yeah, interesting.
I would put 1, 2.
And I think he's the only one that points him as the. I would rate him the least is because he is immature. That's the only thing I would put him the least, is because of that. I think maturity it's sort of like one of the main factors in intelligence lah, for me lah, personally.
3, 4, 5, and out 6. So the reason why,
Like you can have the most wealth of knowledge that you can have, like, oh, I have 2 PhDs, or I went to this country, Harvard or Yale or stuff like that, to study and stuff like that. I got great grades there and stuff like that. But you come to the workforce and you don't even know how to think, in terms of common sense. You're not mature enough to think. You're very like how to say 天真, like you're very naive about things. Personally, I feel like someone who is mature, they are able to they're able to see things more collectively, that rather than just a linear sort of thinking, like what she says lah, right? Whereas if you're naive, you only believe in a certain way. You only believe in a very narrow way of thinking, rather than like a broader sense. So it's very different from breadth and depth also. It's because if it's depth, you can say like, oh, I have PhD in certain things, like I can go in depth into a certain subject or topic, but this is more towards how you think. And so that's why I feel like formal education is very important, because it is a platform for you to develop how you think, so that you don't have that naiveness coming into the workforce. You will be a bit more mature, a little bit more mature when you come into the workforce. And if that wealth of experience in the workforce, coming in for like 5 to 10 years working in that industry, you'll be more mature in that sense, and that's how you gain your intelligence. Because sometimes staying in an industry also, you learn so many different aspect of that industry. Sometimes if you change industry, you have a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge, because you have so many different knowledge from different kind of industry as well. So intelligence can be in that area. But yeah, for me, I think the main part for me, I think after listening to all this, I think maturity is one of it lah.
put you at number 1 is I think you have the highest, not only EQ score out of everybody, but the way you present yourself, as well as being a PhD student, I think is just like a huge thing. And I put myself 6 because I feel like I might be the weakest in terms of actual IQ score. Hopefully I can make it up to everything else.
No, don't put yourself down like that. Okay. But yeah, I think I can totally relate to this guy, because being a social media manager, director, being in the creative industry lah, sometimes we think like we are not intelligent enough because of how we think like creative arts as lower ranking than those people who studied like doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. But I disagree, because being in the creative industry, being in the arts, there is so many different things that you have to work on, like time management, talking to clients, client management and supplier management as well, relationships. You have to learn about a lot of strategies involved. You have to think creatively. You have to work within the timeline. There are so many different aspects into it. You have to also learn how to just churn out ideas. There are so many things that it comes with the creative industry, and you have to work within a certain time frame. You have to know how to handle pressure as well. Not everybody can handle pressure, so it's really a tough industry. And I would say it would just go on par with some of the most like high level sort of jobs like doctors and lawyers. I think it can go into the same category, but just because there's a lot more technical skills involved with doctors and maybe engineers and lawyers that requires that. And sometimes being in the arts and creative, that is not so heavily on the technical things, but technical is still part of it. I think in every industry, in every jobs also, there's a require of technical skills. But yeah, there is, I think intelligence, it's very complex.
So I did put myself as least intelligent. However, if it can't be me, I definitely think Tyler, unfortunately, his way of thinking is linear. And I think intelligence is almost like a sphere. It's a picture. And right now he's only coloring with one color than, with the rainbow.
At first glance and first interaction with me, it's hard to tell how intelligent I am. It's hard to tell how intelligent anybody is.
Is anyone upset with where they're standing?
I think it makes sense that I'm down here. Like the guy who graduated from high school and then joined the military, he probably wouldn't be like high up on there. If I was in their shoes, I definitely would have also ranked myself among the lowest.
I do feel like there might be a prejudice acting in terms of ranking you.
Of course, ah.
But I agree with the ranking. I think you probably are the most intelligent out of all of us. I would feel weird
I would
placing you
switch
there
them
and
around,
not
though.
acknowledging the dynamics
First and second.
in which we did so.
But number 4 is a programmer. I would rate her higher as well. But I don't know.
Hearing that I had to take an IQ test
What do I
was
know?
definitely hard to hear. Quantifying things for me in that realm is really hard because it gives you something really solid. Even if you don't buy into IQ tests, it still gives you a number at the end of the day, which is something you have to grapple with.
Right. So I feel like IQ test it's not really it's flawed because there are so many IQ tests that you can take and each one of it gives you a different result. So IQ test is just a test just to maybe give a sense of where you belong, something like that, but it's not accurate because like I said, after talking to you guys for so long, there are so many things. So intelligence is very complex. There are so many factors involved, and a IQ test, it just doesn't justify your intelligence level.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean. And number 6 is Maria.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting. So the PhD was the last. and kudos to this guy. The high school guy. He's in the middle. And wow. And he's not happy at all. Oh. But no, I don't think it's intelligence is very complex. So there are so many different ways that you can rank from their perspective, how they rank them. There's prejudice, there's a way of how, different people, different way of thinking, and how an IQ test would test them. But I don't know. Same marks though with the high school guy and this what she do again? Finance. Yeah.
I think an IQ test tests something. I don't think it's intelligence. It's definitely testing something. IQ tests are now known to be flawed and based on incorrect sample sizes. I have really severe dyslexia. There's 2 questions on that test that I automatically basically can't answer.
I'm sure if you studied for an IQ test, you would do a lot better.
Right.
IQ tests are just one aspect or one way to measure intelligence. It's really on a spectrum what constitutes somebody as intelligent.
Before this, all I knew about IQ tests is that they existed, and the I stands for intelligence. I've never looked into IQ tests before. Coming here today, them saying the EQ, that was the first time I've ever heard that term in my life.
Coming back to intelligence, it's not just your IQ, it's your EQ, it's your common sense, it's street smarts. Sure, it is some type of metric similar to an SAT and ACT score is a metric for getting into college, but there's more to that person than that test.
I'm actually excited I wasn't last because I thought I was going to be last, not going to lie. I think an IQ test is a good indicator to see how people handle pressure, but I think that's easier to make sense in our heads that, oh, you're smart and you're not smart.
Definitely don't think it's the best metric. I've been exposed to tests like these probably more than most people here. That already gives me an unfair advantage.
This is my villain redemption arc and climbing up the ladder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes people they took the same test, they can score better. Like what he said, if you study well for the test, you can do better. So it's quite flawed and can't really it gives you like, maybe if you're in the same, you did the same test, you can sort of gauge, but I don't think it's the same. Anyway, that's that for that video. I think that this video has gone too long already, so I won't do the second video. I'll leave that to maybe next week, or maybe never. I'll try to find something more interesting. Intelligence is something that it's very, very heavy. I didn't know it's gonna be that heavy. I thought it was just like, oh, okay, just blindly watching something and react to it and talk something like very trashy and stuff like that. But intelligence, wow, what a topic. Yeah, okay, anyway, I don't want to talk more than I should. I think I've used a lot of brain power talking about intelligence, and I'm not really an intelligent person myself as well, so I'm just giving really like just lame points about intelligence, where I don't know, I could be right, I could be wrong, I don't know whether am I saying the right things or not. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to this week's video about intelligence by this video YouTube Jubilee. Very interesting indeed. They have a lot more interesting videos, and yeah, next week we'll do the same thing but just different content, different topic. Do stay tuned to it, and yeah, do leave a like, subscribe, comment if you want to talk more about intelligence. I'll be there to answer anything that if you want to have, or just start a conversation, never mind, I'm still here. And yeah, till then, I'll see you guys in the next one.